Audio Jungle.
When you walk into the university, you can see that everyone is engaged in doing their own stuff and sputtering around. Students' life is just so busy that students have to deal with many affairs. They socialize with friends by sweeping and sliding the phone. They do assignments and study hard for the tests to attain a good grade. They search for more knowledge to broaden their horizons. They entertain, they earn money, they spend time with family, they fall in love. They are overwhelmed by all these things, and it seems that 24 hours are never enough for them. It is extremely common to observe that people multitask to squeeze the time needed for completing the tasks in their daily life.
Human multitasking is an apparent human ability to perform more than one task or activity over a short period. In brief, a person's ability to do more than one thing at a time. There are some factors affecting one's ability to multitask. For example, both alcohol and aging affect our ability to multitask. Doing more than one task at a time requires us to switch our attention rapidly between the tasks.
For example, different students choose different ways to study. Some students may eat, listen to music, and study at the same time. On the other hand, some students may only focus on studying. Now comes the questions. Is it more effective and efficient to handle more than one thing at one hand? Can multitasking really reduce the time for us to complete the task? Is there any difference in the proficiency in it between different sexes? To find out the truth of the efficiency of multitasking, we conducted the following experiment.
We invited 18 volunteers to participate in the multitasking experiment. In the experiment, the volunteers were required to finish 2 sets of simple math tests, which include 10 arithmetic operation questions respectively, without the use of calculator. Half of the volunteers would do test A first, without their music player on, and the other half of the participants did the same test with their music player on. At the same time, we record their start time and finish time.
After all of the volunteers had finished, the group was switched and did test B, so that those who took the quiet test could listen to their music players this time and vice versa. Again, we recorded their start time and finish time. At the end, the volunteers were asked to write down their feelings about the test. Their tests were corrected and a number of correct answers were calculated. The data collected would be analyzed so that a conclusion to the experiment could be drawn.
Here is the data we had collected from the experiment. The proportion of male and female was equivalent, both having 9 respectively. All the participants were in similar ages, ranging from 18 to 21. Therefore, their ability to multitask should have no much difference and would not cause any inaccuracy in the result. The average time for volunteers to take the test without listening to music was 5.84 minutes, and that for taking the test while listening to music was 5.98 minutes. The average mark for volunteers to take the test without listening to music was 7.83 over 10, and that for taking the test while listening to music was 7.28 over 10. We can see that there was no significant difference in both time taken and mark obtained by them. But participants did have a better performance in overall without their music player on, which used less time to finish the test, and had more accurate answers. Moreover, most of the participants stated that doing the test while listening to songs was more difficult for them, as 10 out of 18 believed that the test without music was easier. The other 5 claimed that the test with music was easier, and 3 people claimed that the difficulty was more or less the same. Also, we analyzed the difference between different sets. For female, they performed nearly the same in both tests, while obtaining the same average mark, 7.22 over 10, and take approximately 5.8 minutes. For male, they performed worse while listening to music. Under the music playing condition, they obtained an average mark of 7.33 over 10, which was 1.11 lower than that in normal condition. Under music playing condition, they took 6.1 minutes to finish, which was 16.2 seconds lower than that in normal condition. However, the difference between male and female was not obvious as well.
To sum up from the data, multitasking may be a bit less effective and efficient than focusing on one task. Nonetheless, the most influential factors are the one's habit and proficiency in that task. For example, if a person always does homework while listening to songs, or that person is indeed good at maths, he or she can still perform the same in these 2 tests. It is estimated that music is a kind of disturbance to most people, so a large proportion of the volunteers pointed out that it was more difficult to do maths with music player on. Thus, multitasking can distract people and lead them to failure in focusing on the task. Moreover, female may be more proficient in multitasking. Therefore, it is suitable to multitask in the case that you are well adapted or proficient in that task, so that time spent on the task can be reduced. Otherwise, we should focus on one task only. Time is precious. Good use of time makes the time even more precious.